Sir, are you able to hear me? Appara garu?
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Okay, sir.
I am hearing your voice, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళందరూ మ్యూట్ చేసుకునే ఉండండి.
నేను
ఎకో వచ్చేస్తుంది, మ్యూట్ చేసేయాలి.
నేను 11కి జాయిన్ అవుతాను, ఆయన సెషన్ అయిపోగానే ఆన్లైన్ ఉంటాను.
ఓకే సార్, ఓకే ఓకే, నో ప్రాబ్లం సార్. ఓకే సార్.
ఆడియో కూడా సైలెంట్ లో ఉండాలి. మేడం మీది మేడం ఇయర్ ఫోన్స్ పెట్టేయండి. అదే అందరూ మ్యూట్ లోనే ఉన్నారు సార్.
అందరూ వాయిసెస్ మ్యూట్ చేసేయండి సార్.
ఓకే సార్.
హలో Good morning, Principal ma'am. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. కనీసం మేడం ఎవరు స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారు? మేడం ఎవరు స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారు?
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మేడం.
Good morning, sir.
Very happy for your invitation. Definitely I will do my best, madam.
Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation, and happy to see you on the screen. And really, our participants are lucky to have you as a resource person.
Thank you, madam.
Good morning to all of you. On behalf of the principal, teaching staff, and students of SR and Severe Government Degree College, Vijayawada, I welcome you all to the today's FDP on importance of IPR in higher education institutions. Thank you all for participating in this program. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. D.C.H. Apparao, lecturer in commerce and program coordinator of today's program. And now it is the time to welcome our beloved guests on behalf of SR and Severe Government Degree College, Vijayawada. I take the privilege to introduce our honorable guests of the program today. I am proposally overjoyed to take the opportunity to invite the main pillar of SRR and Severe Government Degree College, Dr. K. Bhagyalakshmi Madam, Principal of this college and Chairperson of this program. A warm welcome to you, Madam. Now I am inviting the in charge of Department of Commerce, Mrs. G. Karunasri Madam, A warm welcome to you, madam. Now I am inviting the convener of our IQSC cell, Dr. R. Kameshwari, madam. Welcome you, madam. We are honored this morning with the presence of the Honorable Commissioner of College Education, Andhra Pradesh, Dr. Pola Bhaskar, IAS Guard, pattern of the program. Sir, on behalf of SRR and CVR Government Degree College, we are cordially welcome you to this program, sir. It is a great privilege for me to welcome Dr. R. David Kumar Garu, Joint Director, CCE Andhra Pradesh, as a pattern of the program. Sir, a warm welcome to you, sir. Now, I am welcoming to the today's resource persons for accepting our invitation, Professor G.B. Reddy Garu, Professor of Law, Law College, Usman University, Hyderabad, and Dr. M.N. Rao Garu, Professor and IPR Coordinator, Vidya Jyoti Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Last but not least, I welcome all the participants to this program who joined here. Now, I invite Mrs. G. Karunasri, in charge, Department of Commerce, and the convener of the program to address the participants.
Thank you, sir. Respected dignitaries of the program, distinguished resource persons, and all the participants from various streams and places. A warm and healthy morning to you all. So, as a convener of the program, I welcome you all to the national level faculty development program on importance of intellectual property rights in higher education. Initiated by the Department of Commerce. Initiated by the Department of Commerce in association with IQSC, SRR and CVR Government Degree College. So it's very glad to me. So it is also a privilege to me to meet you all through this platform. Okay, as we all know, in recent years, intellectual property. As we all know, in recent years, intellectual property has become increasingly important in educational institutions, particularly in higher education institutions. So, discovery and knowledge dissemination has been a very important component and mission of educational institutions. So here, dissemination of knowledge may be in the form, as we know about the dissemination of knowledge, so that may be in the form of high quality academic publications, invited presentations, conference procedures, etc., etc., which are the success points or success marks for the institutions as well as the individual researchers also. So at the same time, higher education is being more involved in oversight of technology transfer. Just like the technology transfers, just like creating funding for academic researches by the private investors, licensing of intellectual property rights, and serving as a license for the economic development of the local communities. So, in the educational institutions, research can result in the creation of knowledge that may have commercial application. So, which may lead ownership rights and sometimes litigations also. So, however, questions arise as to whether these departments and institutions understand the group of issues surrounding intellectual property rights and whether these institutions are sufficiently protected by their current intellectual property policies or not. So in view of this, we arranged the faculty development program to provide insight on importance of intellectual property rights in higher educations. Okay. With these few words, I would like to hand over the program to Dr. C.H. Apparao Garu to take over the session and lead us. Thank you. Thank you once again, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam, for your valuable words. Really, it's a nice program and important program in higher education institutions because we are suffering with IPRs. Intellectual property rights are very useful for the development of education institutions. That's why we are arranging this program by the cooperation of our beloved principal, madam. Thank you, madam. Now, I invite the chairperson of the program, Dr. K. Bhagyalakshmi Madam Garu, Principal Office College, to give the opening remarks. Madam, please.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Apparao Garu, for your kind invitation. Honorable Commissioner, Sir, of Collegiate Education, Dr. Pola Bhaskar IAS, and Joint Director of Collegiate Education, Dr. David Kumar, and resource persons of today, one day, national level faculty development program on importance of intellectual property rights in higher education. Resource persons are Professor G.B. Reddy, Professor of Law, Usmania University. Welcome, sir. Dr. M.N. Rao, Professor, IPR Coordinator, Vidya Jyoti Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Welcome, sir. And Department of Commerce, all the faculty of SRR College and other faculty of other colleges, students, scholars, and other participants. A warm welcome to all of you on behalf of SRR and CVR Government Degree College Autonomous, Vijayawada, for this program. I congratulate the in charge of the Department of Commerce, Karunasri, and Program Coordinator Dr. Apparao Garu, and their team, Sucharita, Navina, Sunita, Deepthi, Lakshmi Bharati, Indira, Dr. Shambabu, Dr. Apparao, Dr. Brahmaya, Dr. Sudhakar, Dr. Ramakrishna. You are taking a lot of pains to your shoulders for conducting this particular program. I feel great and proud to say that Commerce Department is a strong department in our college. Many programs are being run by the department like BCom General, BCom Computers, BBA, and BOC Logistics. Many programs are there, and all the students are offering or opting these commerce courses, and majority of the students belong to commerce, no doubt in that, because a lot of opportunities are there, employment is there. So this is the strongest department. And there are many intellectual persons in India. Intellectual ideology is also there. That should be protected and utilized to the development and prosperity of our country. It may be the patents or trademarks or copyrights or industrial designs or geographical designs or semiconductor integrated circuits layout design or trade secret. Any new product or any new creation or novelty should have a patent. New drug or new vaccine or new design, everything need a patent. Even our turmeric, our tulasi, they also need patents. Or Kanchipuram sari or Kanchi silk or any story or any book or any reaction or any mechanism, everything needs patent rights because they belong to us. That is our idea, that is our knowledge, and that is our wisdom. Everything should be protected and that should be utilized for the prosperity of our college as well as the region and the country also. I feel that this is a wonderful program and I expect all the resource persons to give a lot of inputs. And finally, let me conclude with a quote. Intellectual property is a key aspect for economic development, academic development, medical development, and technological development also. With these few words, let me conclude. Wish you all the best.
Madam, please carry on, madam.
Yeah, finished and over. Over to you.
Thank you, Principal Madam, for your valuable insights and encouragement to organize this program, madam. Thank you once again. It is my pleasure to invite our Joint Director, sir, Dr. R. David Kumar Garu, to speak on this program. Sir, we are welcoming, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, very good morning, all the delegates, resource persons, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a great program. In fact, it is the topic of today's webinar is really the need of the hour, and at the same time, we should bring this kind of concept to the notice of all the students, because the intellectual property rights, the IPR, if you go to the western side, so it was there since a long time, and then their main focus on IPR if you go to the western side. But now in India, but due to lack of awareness among the students, so we are not much focused towards this IPR. So as rightly said the principal now, what kind of components cover under this IPR, right from the even trademarks, all those kind of things. It is completely kind of intellectual mind, selling of intellectual mind, right? So what I suggest, the principal, because being an autonomous college, you can impart or you can include this IPR as a component for all the students into the curriculum. So as an additional module, maybe in some semester, it should be mandatorily to introduce. So for example, in a fourth semester or in a third semester, all the students of the third semester, they should expose towards IPR. So if you look at various universities and colleges in the country, for example, if you go to LPU, Lovely Professional University, right, you will find hundreds of patents. So many students are stakeholders for that patents, many students. Even certainly if you just go through their website, and then not only that website, even KL University, a lot many universities, they're focused on IPR. But if you look at our colleges, so we don't have any patents, and we are also thinking in a very high manner, the IPR. We're thinking, see, if you can look at, I have seen one patent, they got it from IPU, that It's a electronic mat. So once, as soon as you enter into that mat, some lights will come. So that also will be patented. So like this, small things also you can bring into this under IPR, and then if you can introduce this IPR as an additional module into the curriculum, so that all the students will be exposed, and at the same time, before that, as like now we are giving the training to all the faculty, and then and also one person maybe on renovations concept. So one faculty member, maybe one or two faculty member may be the in charge and coordinating this activity, and then take this awareness into the student community. Then you will get more results. You will get more patents. You get the ideas from the students and then record it and discuss with them, and then see that um, uh, whether it can be used for the innovation, right? So like this, the IPR must be brought to the notice of all the students, first of all, and then get the ideas from the students, and then not only that, even the startups. And the startup, once you come up with the startups on the innovation program, and then many students will come forward with their own intellectual ideas, and then you can think on those things, and then whether it can be patented or not. So like that you can move. At least you can file some patents. So, but what we are thinking at the intellectual level, our faculty member, they are thinking IPR means it is a very high-end innovation is needed. No need of that. So that's why just go through some universities and colleges where they got patents for small thing kind of intellectual ideas, right? So I wish all the best. It's a very good initiative, and at the same time, but not only you should not stick on to the only to this webinar, but you should continue this the same pace as far as IPR is concerned. So I wish all the best. The deliberations from the resource persons and faculty and the students will go in a smooth manner and useful manner, and the proceedings will come up with good results, right? I wish all the best. Thanks for giving the opportunity. I congratulate all the organizers for this, making this program. Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your motivating and impressive message. We will certainly utilize this program to enhance our knowledge on IPR. Thank you once again, sir, for inspiring us always to aim high and be committed to our work. We value your suggestions and appreciate your support for all academic initiatives, sir. Thank you once again, sir. Due to busy schedule, our commissioner, sir, and it is not possible to join. So that's why now I am requesting to give valuable greetings and few words by our IPSC coordinator, Dr. R. Kameshwari Madam Garu, on this program.
మేడం మ్యూట్ చేసుకున్నారు. అన్మ్యూట్ చేయండి ఒకసారి. వీడియో వస్తుంది.
Okay.
వీడియో
Thank you, sir. On behalf of IQAC team, SRR CVR Government Degree College Autonomous, Vijayawada, our warm greetings to our Chief Patron, Honorable Special Commissioner of Collegiate Education, Pola Bhaskar Garu, Patron, Joint Director, CCE, Dr. David Kumar Swami Garu, our leader and principal, Dr. and
అవును.
Professor D.B. Reddy, Professor of IPR coordinator, Vijnana Institute of Technology, warm greeting. I convey my greetings to the organizing members, Srimati Karuna Sri, in charge of the department, Dr. C.H. Apparao Garu, IPR coordinator, and team of Commerce Department, in coordinating with IQAC to conduct this session on IPR rights. I hope this seminar on importance of intellectual property rights in higher education will give basic understanding of IPR in higher education and will lead to further investigation of the topic, and let us apply it in our education, higher education sector to bring out new entrepreneurs. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam, for your good words and greeting to this program. Definitely, we will use this program for enhance of knowledge about IPR, madam. Thank you so much. We have come to our prime time. Now let us start our first session with Professor G.B. Reddy Garu. G.B. Reddy Garu. Prior to lending our ears to our distinguished speaker, I request Dr. K. Navina, lecturer in commerce, to introduce Professor G.B. Reddy Garu to the participants.
Thank you, Dr. Apparao Garu. A very good morning to you all. It's an honor and pleasure to introduce our today's guest, Professor G.B. Reddy Garu, to you all. Professor G.B. Reddy Garu is a lawyer turned academician, columnist, and administrator. He's teaching law since 1991. His specialization is constitutional law and intellectual property rights. He is university topper, gold medalist in LLB, LLM, and first UGC JRF awardee in law from Usmania University in the year 1993. He holds PhD degree on judicial activism of Supreme Court from Usmania University in the year 1999. He practiced law for 7 years before joining academics. Coming to research and publications, he authored 23 books and published 74 articles on law and guided 14 PhD scholars and more than 20 LLM dissertations. He also extended his services as visiting professor at several reputed institutions and worked on academic and governing bodies of many institutions, namely the National University of Advanced Legal Studies, Kerala, the National Academy of Legal Studies and Research, Hyderabad, Maharashtra National Law University, Aurangabad, Central University of Karnataka, and University of Hyderabad. His administrative experiences are: he worked as vice principal and principal of University of Law, head of Department of Law, chairman of VOS in Law, dean of Faculty of Law of Usmania University and Telangana University, joint director of Usmania Legal Cell, and he is currently working as director. He is currently the director of Professor G.B. Reddy Ram Reddy Center for Distance Education for Usmania University. He is also the chairperson of University DPIIT, which is the Department for Promotion and Industry and Internal Trade, and Central Government Scheme for Pedagogy and Research in IPRs for Holistic Education Academia. Coming to his other contributions, he also contributed to Indian Law Institute's annual survey of law on environmental law. He also offered 4 SWAYAM courses on law, wherein 10,000 students enrolled and get benefited. So, Sir G.B. Reddy Garu, We think we are fortunate enough to get the opportunity to enrich our knowledge regarding IPR by listening to your session through this webinar. So now may I invite Professor G.B. Reddy Garu to start his session. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your introduction about Professor G.B. Reddy Garu. Sir, are you ready? G.B. Reddy, sir, are you ready?
జాయిన్ అవ్వాలా లైన్లో లేరు లైన్లో లేరు అంటున్నా ఆయన డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయ్యారు లేరు లేరు డిస్కనెక్ట్ అయ్యారు నవీన మేడం మ్యూట్ అవ్వండి మ్యూట్ ఇప్పుడు వస్తున్నారు మీరు మ్యూట్ చేయాలి
Use చేయాలా?
ఇప్పుడు వచ్చారు
Sir, G.B. Reddy Garu, sir, good morning, sir. Are you ready?
ఒకసారి అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోమన్నాను సార్
Sir, please unmute your mic, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Andy. Andari, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir,
Okay.
please begin your session, sir. Please.
Okay.
We welcome you, sir. Please begin your session.
Oh, sure.
Just now, your introduction is over, sir.
Okay, fine.
It was done by our faculty member, Dr. Navina Madam Garu.
Yeah, I've seen the.
Please begin your session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good morning to all of you. And I have run into a problem as far as this system is concerned, but I'll be sending my PPT. Let me, talk directly. At the outset, I thank the organizers for inviting me to this national webinar on intellectual property rights. And it gives me immense pleasure to associate myself with so many faculty members who are very enthusiastic about the faculty development program. Well, as far as my subject is concerned, in fact, I wanted to discuss the concept of intellectual property rights in the 21st century, challenges and opportunities. You can call it IPRs in the 21st century or understanding IPRs, whatsoever. Well, the fact remains that we are living in the age of knowledge era, knowledge revolution. Everything is linked to the knowledge industries, knowledge, in fact, economy, knowledge management, because we think that knowledge is power. Of course, some people may think that power is knowledge, which is the reverse of it. I am not a follower of that. Knowledge is power, knowledge is property as far as intellectual property is concerned. So, Lakshmi and Saraswati should go together. Knowledge must be converted into, in fact, something which can be called commodity. So, we always say that from ideation to, commodification, from converting an idea into a commodity. And here, the intellectual property rights play a very important role. When we deal with the importance of knowledge in modern times, some time back, maybe in 1997, someone made a wonderful statement. I always include it in my presentation on IPRs. And it says that for more than a century, the world's wealthiest man has been an oil worker, but today he is a knowledge worker. That was with reference to Bill Gates when he became the richest man in the world in 1997. And the reference to oil worker was in respect of Sultan of Brunei. And he became the wealthiest man not because of any intellect or human intelligence, but because of the natural resources like oil. But things are changing today. Even the knowledge workers, they are trying to in fact, convert their knowledge into, in fact, a commercial asset. And in the process, they are also trying to, in fact, help the society find solutions to many of the existing problems, then even help the agriculture and other industries, rural, in fact, people coming out with rural innovations. There are so many other things. This is one important facet. Former American President Thomas Jefferson once said, ingenuity should receive a liberal encouragement. If somebody is genius, somebody is coming out with something new, certainly, proper encouragement must be given. I think this is what the government of India is doing, and this is what we have to capitalize on. Another important point is that imagination is more important than knowledge. That's what Albert Einstein said long time back. So only when we imagine, we can certainly, in fact, create something new. Mere knowledge without imagination will be futile. This is one important point. Another point is that I'll give a simile here. Before 1985 or so, there was no inclusion of any subject on environmental studies or environment in any of the school, college, and university curriculum, except when it was a specialization kind of thing. Thanks to a Supreme Court judgment in MC Mehta case called oleum gas leakage case, where the Supreme Court said environmental awareness must be created at all levels, right from primary school level to the higher education level. Then the syllabus was changed. Today you find a paper on environment everywhere, right from primary school, secondary school, inter, degree, PG, everywhere. And that certainly helped the people realize the importance of environment and its protection. Probably similar things should be done in the case of intellectual property also, because most of us are oblivious of the importance of intellectual property and its importance. And way back in 2016, Indian government came out with a policy called National IPR Policy, and where it is clearly mentioned that in fact, what is the goal? What is the vision? The vision is India where creativity and innovation are stimulated by intellectual property for benefit of all, not only the creators. In India where intellectual property promotes advancement in science and technology. Today we are experiencing the benefits of the advancements in science and technology, arts, culture, traditional knowledge, biodiversity resources. And another very beautiful statement is that where the knowledge is the main driver of development. The knowledge always should be considered as the backbone of development, and knowledge owned is transformed into knowledge shared. This is important. Any knowledge which is owned by someone will have its significance or utility only when it is shared with others. If the knowledge is kept for oneself, it will not develop further. So these are few preliminary observations. As I already mentioned, this is the age of knowledge workers. Whether you are talking about in somebody like Bill Gates, who likes to call himself a knowledge worker, or somebody like J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter series, or somebody like Elon Musk. Today, he's the CEO of Tesla Motors, and he has taken over even the Twitter, and he's talking about the electric vehicles, flying vehicles, swimming vehicles, whatnot. These are all knowledge workers because they believe in the importance of their knowledge and using that knowledge for scientific and technological, advancements. This is another important point. Again, the point is, what is intellectual property? Many people get confused. I'm not here to tell you the meaning of intellectual property, but I will tell you that it is a kind of intangible property, intangible in the sense which doesn't have a physical shape or form. Then it is in the form of rights. Intellectual property is always in the form of rights, and the rights must result from our intellectual activity, the mind labor, the mental labor, right? In several fields, maybe scientific, industrial, literary, and artistic fields. And these rights are called intellectual property rights, which may include patents, copyright, trademark, design, geographical indications, traditional knowledge, layout designs, plant varieties, whatnot. Point is, intellectual property doesn't mean only patents. Many people think so. That's not the case. Intellectual property is in the form of rights. Then intellectual property rights are different depending on the subject matter of protection. If an invention is made, it has to be patented for better protection. If any new symbol, mark, or in fact, representation is used in commercial goods and services, then that is protected as a trademark. Then a new feature, new article, shape, configuration, etc., if applied to an article, is protected as a design. GIs, I had an occasion to visit Guntur sometime back along with CAI team. Guntur Sanna Mirchi, right? That was given the, in fact, the GI tag. The application was pending at that time. Why that Sanna Mirchi of Guntur is so famous? Because it has certain unique characteristics, which are, in fact, related to the soil, the kind of agricultural methods deployed by the farmers there. There are so many such things. This is one. Maybe Bandar Laddu or whatever it is. That is GIs. We have many more kinds of intellectual property. But the point is that intellectual property is a multifaceted subject. It is not concerned only with the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics streams. It is concerned with every discipline of study and teaching. It is concerned with languages. It's concerned with poetry, prose, and other kind of literary works. Copyright comes into picture here. It is concerned with science, engineering, and technology, where people come out with inventions which are given patents. It is concerned with the intellectual property management. In the management disciplines, we have branding, we have the protection of various trademarks, sometimes trade secrets, commercial appellations, right? And it is concerned with every discipline. Second point. The third point is that intellectual property is not the property of only the so-called intellectuals. Even ordinary persons also can come out with any invention which can be patented subject to fulfillment of certain conditions. So when you talk about asu making machine, which is used by the weavers, handloom weavers throughout maybe Telangana and Andhra Pradesh also they are using now. It was patented by a school dropout. One Mr. Chindakindi Malaysia movie came, no? Chindakindi Malaysia movie came. Priyadarshi acted as the one. That's a biography.
No questions.
Biographic movie. And the inventor of this machine, who invented this tie and dye technology, is asu making machine. He is the one who was a dropout. With the help of our mechanical engineering department people in Usman University, he could get it patented, which is hailed as one of the, in fact, most significant rural inventions. So we have so many. Point I am trying to make out is that any person who has imagination, any person who has the inventive as well as innovative capability, this is important. Innovation also is equally important, right? For example, people say that the founder of Nirma company used to sell this powder by going from one house to other house. Today, it's a very big conglomerate. And there are many others who started on a very small scale and who went on to become great successes. Therefore, intellectual property may be created by anyone who is having that capacity to think differently, out of box, and to think anew, afresh, and to come out with certain inventions, not only inventions, but innovations. Innovation is not invention. Innovation is something new, doing something new in a new manner, right? So this is one important aspect. Intellectual property rights are transnational in character because they don't have any territorial boundaries. In Vijayawada, you create an invention, you get a patent for it. It can be accessed anywhere in the world because the information will come into public domain. You can protect it only for a period of 20 years. After that, it's everybody's knowledge. Therefore, the national boundaries don't matter. Remember this. Today, you are talking about some kind of intellectual property created in one country, registered in other country, exploited in yet another country. This is the beauty of our LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. This is another important aspect. Last point, which I would like to mention is that intellectual property rights confer only limited monopolies. If it is any immovable property like land, buildings, etc., we can own them forever if we so want. Intellectual property is not that kind of thing. It has a shelf life of a banana. Bill Gates himself said that. Shelf life of a banana. What does it mean? It means that after some time it gets rotten. Intellectual property also is like this. When we look at the various kinds of intellectual property, you will find that they are protected only for a particular period. Patents are protected for 20 years from the date of grant. Trademarks are protected for 10 years. They have to be renewed every 10 years if it is registered. A GI has to be protected every 10 years. It has to be renewed. A design is protected only for 10 years, subject to renewal by 5 more years, maximum 15 years. Copyright during the lifetime of the author plus 60 years in India. The question is, what next? What next is nothing but public domain. It is everybody's knowledge. Anybody can make use of that, right? Subject to certain limitations. Then, when we are talking about intellectual property, remember, if you go into the world of intellectual property, you will come across things like, discovery, invention, authorship, novelty, idea, innovation, license, design. Everything is related to intellectual property, right? So invention in the form of a new product or process can be patented if it is novel, useful, and non-obvious. I think the next speaker will explain further. I will refrain from saying much about that. So the great inventions which were made in the past, they are helping us, reap their benefits in the present and in future as well, right? Whether Alexander Graham Bell or someone else, Louis Pasteur himself was granted, the French biologist Louis Pasteur, he was granted patents for certain bacterium, yeast, sometime in 19th century. There are so many, such illustrations today. Well, then let's, take one very common example. You're talking about intellectual property in a cell phone. Look at your cell phone. I can see minimum 5 different kinds of intellectual property. It has a brand name, trademark, which becomes a brand like Apple, Samsung, Realme, whatever. That is trademark intellectual property. Its external appearance is protected by designs, industrial designs. Look at the beautiful designs which are coming up for different phones. Technology which is used, whether it is operating system or something else. Standard essential patents are used. There the patents come into picture. Similarly, we have a SIM card. SIM card also has intellectual property in the form of layout and integrated design. Then comes the ringtone, caller tune, that can be copyrighted. The set of instructions can be copyrighted. Look at just, one small piece of electronic instrument. You come across 5 different kinds of intellectual property. And if you really care to know more about the inventions and patents, look at the specification of Apple iPhone. The description of iPhone. It is mentioned as an electronic device. As simple as that. That is the title. There are 9 different kinds of appearances which are mentioned. You can Google, you will find out. Well, in spite of this, I think most of us are concerned about the patents, trade secrets, trademarks, copyright, designs, and GIs, which we come across day in and day out. Tirupati Laddu is a GI. Bandar Laddu is a GI. Right? Then Nirmal paintings, 80 Kopaka toys. There are more than almost 30 GIs registered in both the Telugu speaking states, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh put together. Then, as I already mentioned, intellectual property may come in any form. For example, there are certain persons who are not formally literates. I think Narayana Charyulu, Puttaparthi Narayana Charyulu, if I remember well. And the great man, he never had a formal education, but great poet. He went on to become a great poet. There are great painters without going to any art school. There are great inventors. Sometimes, necessity becomes mother of all inventions. And that drives the people to invent more and more things. I mentioned about Mallesham's Asu making machine. He named it after Lakshmi, his mother, because he couldn't withstand the pain of the mother by moving hundreds and thousands of times every day for weaving a sari or some other textile material on Pochampalli ikat or motifs, right? Same is the case with one, very interesting example is probably a kind of patent granted to a semi-skilled worker in Mahindra and Mahindra plant in Nashik. I had an occasion to interact with him almost, 15, 16 years back. And the gentleman said he got 2 patents for fuel saving oil filter used in automobile machines or engines. And by using this oil filter, fuel can be saved. It was patented with the help of National Chemical Laboratory. And I asked him, sir, what are your qualifications? He said, sir, I am not even ITI. I am a 10th class dropout. I am a semi-skilled worker. But I learnt this while working as a semi-skilled worker in Nasik and Nasik. My experience ultimately, drove me to this. This is another important point. So sometimes imagination may come from different directions, not necessarily from doctorates, PhDs, IITs and IIMs. Any person, I think all of you know Telugu. నిన్న మొన్న మనం శ్రీశ్రీ గారిది బర్త్డే సెలబ్రేట్ చేసుకున్నాం. ఆయన రాస్తారు, కుక్క పిల్ల, అగ్గిపుల్ల, సబ్బు పిల్ల, కాదేది కవిత కనర్హం. అదేవిధంగా పేటెంట్స్ ఇవన్నీ వచ్చినప్పుడు కూడా ఎవ్రీథింగ్ కెన్ బి పేటెంటెడ్. ఎనీథింగ్ అండర్ ద స్కై కెన్ బి పేటెంటెడ్ ప్రొవైడెడ్ ఇట్ సాటిస్ఫైస్ ద 3 conditions: novelty, utility and non-obviousness. This is one another important point, right? And when we are talking about the other aspects, today we are talking about intellectual property rights more for the simple reason that
by mistake anukunta close
we signed WTO's trade agreements way back in 1994. TRIPS agreement is one of the most important agreements. TRIPS 1994, which came into force in the year 2000 in India, with one exception of product patent in 2005.
delete chesi
And TRIPS agreement mandates that all member countries must follow certain minimum standards, minimum subject matter of patents, then uniform term of protection. For example, patent, it is protected for 20 years. Before TRIPS agreement was fully complied with. In India, it was protected for 14 years. In America, it was 17 years. In India, again, in case of certain chemical and other inventions, it was only for 5 years. Now it is uniform. So TRIPS agreement certainly changed the way the intellectual property has been looked upon by various member countries of the WTO, World Trade Organization. Right? This is one important point. And today, we are not living in the utopian era where, we always think about holistic development, saying that where the knowledge is free, as Rabindranath Tagore said in Gitanjali. Today, knowledge comes with a cost. It is linked to trade. That's the reason why you say that there is, trade related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement on trade related aspects of intellectual property rights, that is TRIPS. And it has given us number of challenges as well as opportunities. And it gave about, 5 plus 5, 10 years of leverage to the developing and least developed countries to make their structures, their functioning uniform. India is being a developing country. We complied with everything by 2005 itself. This is another important point. Then when we are talking about the new kinds of inventions which you are looking at today, biotechnology inventions, microorganisms are patented, life forms are patented, but not those which are naturally occurring, but which are, in fact, genetically engineered, genetically modified crops, genetically engineered crops, right, are microorganisms. For example, in 1980, an Indian scientist called Anand Chakrabarti, he invented a bacterium called Pseudomonas. Maybe, the learned faculty members from zoology, they may be knowing about this Pseudomonas bacterium, which was patented in USA after a lot of opposition, because they said that it is an invention, it is invented in the laboratory. This can be used to, split crude oil into different components. Therefore, it contains novelty, it has usefulness, it has, the inventive step or non-obviousness. That means it is not known even to an expert in the field. If these three conditions are satisfied, it can be patented. So that is some of the development. For example, Harvard Onco mouse, you must have heard about it. Harvard Onco mouse was patented by the scientists of Harvard Medical School. And this Onco white mouse, which was created under laboratory conditions, got patented in USA way back in 1988. What I am trying to tell you is that even the life forms are getting patented. For example, plant varieties, new plant varieties, they are patented in USA. In India, we have a special system called sui generis system. The Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act deals with that. So you talk about BPT. It's a kind of rice which is extensively used. I think BPT is Bapatla rice, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe, it was produced there in the agricultural university there. Then we have Srivari. We have so many others, and they can be protected as plant varieties. This is another important point. But what we need to understand is that the traditional knowledge, that is the knowledge which is already existing in the society, maybe in the form of, the agricultural methods, horticultural methods, medicinal methods, right? Or maybe handicrafts, handlooms, so on and so forth. This probably cannot be commercially exploited under the intellectual property rights. But we can prevent others, unauthorized persons or third parties, from utilizing or commercially exploiting these. Only the stakeholders can do something. Like, for example, Pochampalli Ikat, you must have seen. Pochampalli Ikat was the first GI from United Andhra Pradesh. Sometime in probably 2001, 2, 3, those days, maybe 3 or 4. Now the point is, if you go to Pochampalli village near Nalgonda, you will find that there are 30 plus families who are totally dependent on the weaving handlooms. And this Pochampalli texture, you must have seen. These textile design, they vary. Gadwal is different, Dharmavaram is different, Pochampalli is different, right? And the Orissa is different, Chanderi is different. That was, in fact, registered as a GI. Today, there is an apparel park there. I think the living conditions of most of the farmers have developed better. This is another important point. And just a minute, I'll see whether I can make this presentation. If the organizers permit, I will upload this presentation. But first I have to
Okay,
join
sir. Okay,
through-
sir. You can. No problem.
because I must join through the system. This was giving me some trouble. Now I think now it has come back.
Yes,
Just
sir.
give
We
me
are
a
agreeing
minute,
with
I'll
you, sir.
upload. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Just a
Take.
just. Just there. I'm joining from my system, sir.
Sir.
ఇప్పటికి
Yes.
నాకు తెలిసి అరౌండ్ ఒక 100 దాకా వచ్చారు మేడం.
I think I've joined. Then I'm logging.
అయితే వచ్చి వెళ్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, 100 ఉంటారు. 100 ఉంటారు సార్. యూట్యూబ్లో నేను ఇంకొకరు ఎవరు ఉన్నారు అంతే. అది యూట్యూబ్లో ఏమైనా వస్తుందా ప్లస్ స్ట్రీమింగ్ ఏమైనా ఆగుతుందా వస్తుందా తెలియటం కోసం నేను అట్లా పెట్టాను. అదే లేదు మేడం, ఎందుకంటే వస్తూ వెళ్తూ ఉన్నారు కదా, నాకు తెలిసి 100 టచ్ అయింది.
Is the screen visible, sir?
No,
Hello.
sir. No.
Just a minute. ఇదేదయ్యా షేర్ చేస్తలేము. ఇదేనా? ఇది వేరే. దిస్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్. ఇది ఐ థింక్ ఇట్స్ లోడింగ్. జస్ట్ ఎ మినిట్. ఇంకేదన్నా ఏది రావాలి కదా.
I think I am not made a presenter, sir. This is the problem. If I am made a presenter, then I can present. That is disabled.
Sir,
Doesn't matter. If I am made a presenter, I can present. Or else I think there is an option. Please see. Your technical team
sir.
may make me the presenter, then I can share my screen with you.
లేదు మేడం ఆప్షన్ లేదు ప్రెజెంటర్ చేయడానికి.
Well, until that time, I'll continue.
చేస్తారు కదా
No issue.
ఇందాక
Because I thought that the pictures speak more. Well, anyway, I was talking
1 minute,
about
sir. Sir, GBRD, sir, 1 minute, sir. My
Yeah.
technical person will be talk to you, sir, please.
yeah.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Bullshit.
Sir, you can start presenting, sir. There is nothing like making
Good morning, Andy.
presenter.
No. ఇక్కడ ఈ యారో మార్క్ అప్పు పైన ఉంటుంది, దాన్ని అది డిజేబుల్ అయి ఉంటది. అక్కడ మేక్ మీ ప్రెజెంటర్ అని ఉంటది. అక్కడ మీ దగ్గరనే ఉంటది, అది చూడండి. మీద అన్ని యాక్టివ్గా ఉన్నాయి ఎక్సెప్ట్ దిస్ యారో మార్క్ పైకి చూపిస్తుంది కదా.
అవును సార్.
మళ్ళీ రీజాయిన్ కమ్మంటారా నన్ను?
ఒక్కసారి సార్.
యు వాంట్ మీ టు రీజాయిన్?
ఎస్ సార్.
రీజాయిన్ కావాలనా?
అవును సార్.
Okay, I'm leaving the call. I'll rejoin immediately.
Okay, sir.
Leave.
మన దగ్గర ఏమీ లేదు కంట్రోల్. ప్రెజెంట్ డైరెక్ట్ మనకే ఉంది. ఇప్పుడు మీరు ప్రెజెంట్ మేడం మీకు వస్తుందా ప్రెజెంట్ ఆప్షన్ కింద? అంతే. ప్రెజెంట్ నౌ ప్రెజెంట్ నౌ అని కింద ఉంటుంది చూడండి. ఇదిగో కింద.
హలో, మళ్ళీ పోయింది.
అదే మా సార్.
హలో
సార్.
విజిబుల్ అండి?
సార్ లేదు సార్.
లేదా? మళ్ళీ సేమ్ ప్రాబ్లం, మళ్ళీ పోయింది ఇది. ఎనీవే ఐ కంటిన్యూ. టైం వేస్ట్ అవుతుంది. మళ్ళీ నేను పీపీటీ మీకు పంపిస్తాను, మీరు షేర్ చేసుకోవచ్చు మీ వాళ్ళు.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే,
ఫైన్. రైట్. వెల్, so I was talking about the various kinds of intellectual property which we can, in fact, create even at the rural level, even in respect of agricultural goods, natural or manufactured goods. This is
sir,
one important aspect.
Professor sir, 1 minute,
Then,
sir.
let me also share a very interesting story.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Please share. Please send your PPTs to me, sir. Sir, మీ పీపీటీ నాకు పంపించండి, నేను షేర్ చేస్తాను సార్. నాకు పంపించి నేను షేర్ చేస్తాను.
ఓకే, ఇప్పుడే పంపిస్తున్నా. మీ మెయిల్ ఐడి ఒక్కసారి నేను ఫార్వర్డ్ ఉండొచ్చు.
నేను మీకు పంపిస్తాను సార్. వాట్సాప్ చేస్తాను.
చేయండి. ఇది వీడియో వాళ్ళకి కనిపిస్తుండొచ్చు. వీడియో ఇక్కడ డిజేబుల్ అయింది.
Sir, I have sent my mail ID to you, sir. Your WhatsApp.
I have sent Dr. Apparao garu.
Sir, I'll check it, sir. I'll check it.
Okay.
వచ్చిందా సార్? ఇక్కడ డౌన్లోడ్ చేయండి కొన్ని. ఇక్కడ డౌన్లోడ్ చేసి ఇక్కడ ప్రజెంట్ చేస్తా. మీ మెయిల్ ఇదే కానీ సార్.
ఎంటర్ స్క్రీన్ అనగానే పోతుంది. ఒక్క నిమిషం పైన స్క్రీన్ పోయింది. షేర్ అనమాట. సార్ వచ్చిందా?
సార్ మీ మెయిల్ వచ్చింది సార్, నేను డౌన్లోడ్ చేశాను సార్, జస్ట్ అది ప్రజెంట్ చేయబోతున్నాను. 1 minute.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. వదిలే. వెల్ when you మీరు ప్రెజెంట్ చేస్తూ ఉండండి.
చూడండి ఒకసారి.
Then let me talk about Ongole Bull.
అదే
Ongole Bull controversy, which is nearer to you. There was a controversy regarding the Ongole Bull, and Ongole Bull is very famous even for resisting mad cow disease. It is something, in fact, very unique. And it so happened that sometime in 2015, a Brazilian team, they made a representation to our National Biological Authority, NBA, and they wanted 5,000 units of germplasm of Ongole Bull. Why? It so happened that Ongole Bull is, very well, I need not mention. In fact, in my presentation, I have given the photo also. It is found in Andhra Pradesh, maybe Prakasham district and surrounding areas. And it has many unique qualities. One of them is, it is resistant to disease. Even during the drought also it survives. And for farming and milking, it is extensively used. And even its meat also is in lot of demand. So happened that it was exported to Brazil for many years, and Brazilians improved on it, and they developed their own crossbreed version called Brahma, a little different from our Ongole Bull. But when crossbreed is created, please try to understand that every few years, to maintain the pure bloodlines, they need germplasm from the original, that is Ongole Bull. For many years, it was smuggled from India, but when that was detected and stopped, then in the year 2015, they made a representation to the government to permit. Probably it was denied. That is a different issue. You can call it biopiracy. In the context of intellectual property rights, it is nothing but biopiracy. This is another important aspect. Sir, మీరు ఇంకా కిందికి రండి సార్. Make it full screen. ఇంకా కిందికి. నెక్స్ట్ ఇంకా ఫర్దర్ ఇవన్నీ చెప్పేశాను. ఫర్దర్ ఇది ఒంగోల్ బుల్ ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్, ఇది ఉంచండి. ద ఒంగోల్ బుల్, యాజ్ ఫర్ యాజ్ the appearance itself is concerned, it's so clear. Yes, sir. You can come to that slide. Yeah, you can stop here. And the controversy I mentioned underneath, this Ongole bull controversy. And because, the Ongole bull became Brahma in Brazil. And the reason I told you that, in fact, there was smuggling of the germplasm, and which was in fact, supposed to be continued, but government stopped it. Then there was a request. Next, please. Next slide. Please slide down. Next. After this, next. Yeah. Look at this photo. This photo. A little above, sir. The photo. Paiki. Inkoka slide paiki. Yes. Here you are looking at 4 unique products. Ante ikkada. One is basmati rice. What is its speciality? Mana Gunturlo vandutunda basmati rice. Hyderabad lo vandutunda. This quality of rice is cultivated only in the Himalayan foothills. In Himachal Pradesh, Punjab and elsewhere. And, in fact, a company in America wanted to patent the rice lines of basmati sometime in 95-96. They slightly modified, they wanted to patent. But India opposed, stating that basmati is a GI, geographical indication in India. At that time, there was no law, no registration, but somehow we promised to get it registered. One kind of biopiracy was stopped. The second 2 are the pictures of the neem, the scientific name I have given there. And an American company wanted to patent the fungicidal characteristics of the neem in European Patent Office. Again, the Indian government stopped, saying that, in fact, this is a traditional knowledge in India, because we almost in every household, we use the neem, even, while people are suffering from some viral fevers, etc., we use the neem. In fact, the screen went blank, sir, whatever. Then another one is about the butterflies. You can say, what is intellectual property in butterflies? But in butterflies also, you come across, in fact, certain kind of intellectual property relating to biological diversity. And they cannot be smuggled because they are protected species. And in fact, a Czechoslovakian entomologist was jailed in India for that. This is turmeric. Another one is about the turmeric. And you know that turmeric was sought to be patented in United States of America for its, antiseptic characteristics, especially when there is a cut wound. If you apply turmeric powder, unless it is a very deep cut, the bleeding will stop. For this characteristic, 2 Indians working for Mississippi Medical School wanted to patent it, but we stopped, we prevented. What I'm trying to tell you is that sometimes biologically or biodiversity-wise rich countries like India, which have lot of biodiversity, they become victims of biopiracy. These are some of the examples. Well, then when we are talking about the other aspects, the tiger spiders in Borra caves, maybe you may recollect that almost 10-15 years back, a German tourist was, in fact, camping in one of the Vizag hotels. And the gentleman was giving very good amount of money for bringing tiger spiders. Tiger spiders, in fact, there was a blue striped spider, which he wanted to purchase for almost 50,000 rupees. I think people will laugh at it because nobody wants to, purchase a spider for 50,000 rupees. But this is a rare spider which is used in, as an ornament in foreign countries. He gave advertisement also for the purpose of selling them. So that is also a kind of biopiracy. We have a number of examples like this. Then when we are talking about the other aspects of intellectual property, most of you are teachers, learned teachers, respected teachers. You must be aware of the concept of copyright, and we always cherish the copyright. And sometime in 2016, there was a very interesting, we can come down, sir. This I think we have discussed. Next slide, if possible. This is next. Here we can, yes, this slide. Above that. Yes, please stop that. Now the question is, we are all working as teachers, and sometimes when we prescribe certain books for covering the syllabus, the entire syllabus may not be covered in a single book. Then what do? We say, okay, you take so and so book and read first and second chapter. From some other book, third and fourth chapter. Likewise, suppose if any Xerox company, a Xerox shop, it takes 1 or 2 chapters from one book published by Oxford University Press, maybe about 50 pages from a publication of Cambridge University Press, maybe another 100 pages from Taylor and Francis, like international publishers, and arrange them in one particular order and make them into course packs. This is called course packs, compilations. And if they go on supplying them to the students for a price, will it violate copyright or not? This is one important issue. And you look at the citation there, the Chancellor and Masters of University of Oxford came to Delhi to challenge this activity going on in Delhi University, in Delhi School of Economics. So ultimately, then, it so happened that the Delhi High Court declared that there is no copyright violation because it is only for instructional purposes or academic purpose. It's a debatable judgment because I think as teachers, we must be respecting the copyright of other authors as well as publishers. This is another important point, please. Then we have many others. For example, just look at Raymond's suitings, very famous. But, sometime back there was a case about 5 years back, and which was decided by Bombay High Court. Some pharmaceutical company started using the Raymond's, logo, and they registered a website also, RaymondPharma.com. Then the original Raymond textile people challenged the same, saying that it is nothing but infringement of trademark, passing of this and that. But the court said that for 5 years you wasted your time. You were watching as a silent spectator. Now you can't get it, in fact, redressed by the court. What I am trying to say is that if we have intellectual property, and if somebody is violating our intellectual property rights, then we must take prompt action. If we don't take, then it becomes acquiescence. That's what we call it in law. Look at the other slide, please. You can slide down, sir. You will come across a beautiful pig. Yeah. Please stop here. You must be knowing about Picasso. Picasso, the great painter of Asturias, maybe Spanish painter, Pablo Picasso. Here you look at a pig which was painting. Rescued